Today on The Question Is with Anthony Portantino, we're talking gold. Not the bling kind, but the Gold Line light rail. The Gold Line is the little engine that is putting the San Gabriel Valley on the map, getting people out of their cars and bringing them to where they want and need to go. So punch your ticket and get on board. Two of my favorite people join me today on The Question Is with Anthony Portantino, the chair and the vice chair of the Gold Line Construction Authority. Glendora Councilmember Doug Tessitor and Claremont Councilmember Sam Pedroza. They are the conductors of this exciting train line. They are shepherding the multi-phase construction of the best light rail in California, the Gold Line. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome, Anthony. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Now, Doug, you're the chair, and you've been chair and part of this for a while. So tell us a little bit about the genesis of the Gold Line and what's happening that's so exciting in the San Gabriel Valley.
Well, the Gold Line started out years ago as a creature of the legislature. Adam Schiff,
Congressman Schiff, when he was a senator, right?
That's right. Created it because the LA Metro was unable to, and uninterested at the time, and still are, to get the project started and built. So the legislature created the Gold Line Construction Authority, and we have completed on time and on budget the first phase, which went from Union Station in Los Angeles to Sierra Madre Villa in Pasadena.
I think you need to say that again. It was completed on time and under budget.
Yet, on time and under budget.
Wasn't it under budget, right? Or was it on budget?
No, I think the first phase under budget.
First phase was under budget.
And we continue to be
So
under
how many large-scale construction projects in the state of California can say they were on time and under budget?
None that I know.
None other than the Gold Line, right?
It's been our mantra, really. It's
Exactly.
really been the way that this construction authority operates.
Yeah. So phase one was done, and now tell me what's going on after that.
Well, phase two started in 2002, and both Sam and I have been on the Construction Authority board since 2003. I've been chairman for the last 4 years, and Sam has been the vice chair for the last 4 years. And we continue to be on time and actually under budget for the entire project. We have completed all the track and all the systems work up to Azusa, actually right by Citrus College in Glendora. The project is going to be completed and ready to turn over to Metro for testing in September of 2015. And we're just really thrilled and excited that
It's moving along.
It's moving along.
Sam, one of the things that is exciting about the Gold Line is it actually gets, more miles per dollar than some of the larger transportation agencies. I mean, the sort of the brilliance of Adam Schiff and the San Gabriel Valley was, let's create a small construction authority as opposed to being part of a big bureaucracy like Metro. And obviously that model's working. I mean, tell us a little bit about the economy of this.
Absolutely. The construction authority, the beauty of a construction authority is the flexibility, being able to respond to the needs as they come to the funding that's available. And even the way the board is situated, we don't get caught up in the politics because it's us, it's the cities that are engaged. So it really has been that flexibility, the maneuverability of the whole organization has been much easier. In addition, it gives us the ability to work with our Congress members and the legislature in making sure that they're up to speed, understanding of the project, and also needing, when we need them to come in and help us when we can't get the assistance from other agencies like the Metropolitan Transit Authority, for example.
And the ultimate destination is the Ontario Airport,
No, it's Montclair.
Montclair.
Right. Ultimately, I mean, the route, the train has the ability and should go ultimately to Ontario Airport. However, because we are under the jurisdiction of Los Angeles County,
It'll stop at the
it'll
county
stop
line.
at Claremont, but then we are working at making sure it goes all the way to Montclair. Now, from Montclair to Ontario Airport, really that's going to be under the authority of Sandbag. And it's going to be their efforts, and they got to work on that part. The cities, we're more than happy, and we want to make sure that happens because it makes sense.
Now, will that require a new construction authority or a new funding source, or both?
In San Bernardino?
In San Bernardino, how is it going to work once it
That's
gets?
part of the question is, really.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, we believe that we could do the construction all the way to the Ontario Airport much more efficiently and cost effectively
Than anybody else. Right.
than anybody else, just because of the experience.
Right.
San Bernardino is, I guess, rightfully kind of jealous of their control of something that's going to be run and operated in their county. And they, I think, feel like they ought to be the ones to set the priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And
You can't blame them either. I mean, because we went through a similar situation with
When phase one,
in San Gabriel Valley.
when phase
always-
one finished,
exactly.
you wanted the new cities to be part of the
Absolutely,
decision-making
and we always felt that all the attention and the funding was going to the west side or the LA area, and so there was always that east-west battle. Well, San Bernardino has a similar situation, and I think the politics that we know about transit, especially project building, we would be of great assistance in making sure that, and helping any of the folks that are really interested in seeing this train go all the way to the airport.
Right, the more local,
will have a great role.
Yeah, the more local you make the role,
Absolutely.
the more efficient it is, the more buy-in you get from the communities. And I think that's the beauty of the goal line from the get-go is all the communities wanted it.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
right-of-ways, though, took time to acquire, there was not significant opposition in acquiring the right-of-ways, and the being close to the ground made a difference.
well, and that the right-of-way is really a key issue in our efficiency, by the way, because we already own the right-of-way all the way to Montclair. It's the current BNSF.
And right-of-way is the actual path where the
Right.
tracks go on, the property.
That's right.
That because again, you can't just plop tracks somewhere. You have to own the land,
Right.
the dirt, and so the goal line already owns the dirt. The tracks are going to go all the way to
Right.
Montclair.
Yes, but we do not own the dirt beyond Montclair and out to the Ontario Airport, or frankly any place to the east. So that's something that's going to have to be acquired. The dealing with San Bernardino is going to be touchy, and we're just willing to offer our services to be as helpful as we possibly can in getting the gold line ultimately to a destination that makes sense, which is an airport.
Right, and after phase one was done, it took a little while to get LA to give up.
Right.
They ultimately got there,
Right.
but it took a little while to help them understand that, for example, Claremont and Glendora needed to be part of this process.
Well, this new mayor definitely has been a very responsive and a lot more. Yeah, I mean, he's been to the San Gabriel Valley
Right.
at least 3 or 4 times now, and has been saying all the right things. So, Mayor Garcetti has been, I think, more of a partner and a regional player than previous LA mayors have been.
Obviously, a big part of the funding was Measure R, but that wasn't the only funding. I mean, phase one was funded by Metro, right?
Yes,
Phase one was
Correct,
phase one
correct.
from
LA to
Sierra Madre,
Sierra Madre,
Yeah.
correct.
was programmed by Metro's funds. Phase two is Measure R
The first project to be funded or to be constructed
out of Measure
out
R.
of Measure R.
Right.
And is it appropriate for us to mention where the credit of?
No, you can. I'm happy. I'm happy to be. Yeah, I obviously helped to the extent I could while I was in the legislature, and it's a great project. I mean, it really is.
That's how these projects happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. It's never just one person, one champion. Really, it takes team players and working with the legislature. So your help definitely has made the difference. And we call Adam Schiff the grandfather of this project, really, and because it started with his efforts. So
and
it's just
frankly,
amazing.
thinking about the legislature, you take on a huge bureaucracy like MTA, and you tell them that you're going to take something away from them, even if it's something they don't really want.
Right.
They still don't do that. And I mean, the brilliance of Adam Schiff creating the construction authority, really, I don't think they thought it was going to be as successful, which is probably why it helped to get it away from them. But Congressman Schiff had a wonderful vision, and gave birth to a great project, and obviously involving all of the locals to keep it going.
Well, the really interesting thing about the gold line, you asked the question earlier about why we're so efficient. And part of the answer to that is that we are a very small organization. I think we've got like 14 employees. The rest of them are all contracted employees or contractors. We only have the one project.
Right.
So we're able to focus on that to the exclusion of anything else. MTA, of course, has
thousands.
Many projects, not only in light rail, but also in highway.
Right.
So they're very...
And bus lines.
Right.
And yes, and there's lots and lots of politics. We don't have that problem. And we've got the wholehearted support of all the cities along the right-of-way all the way out to Montclair. So we're able to be nimble and to focus on what it is that we're doing.
How's ridership been since it started?
Substantially greater than what was originally anticipated.
Absolutely.
And that's another good problem to have. And I know that was the one, some of the West Side folks would say to me, well, the riders aren't going to be the same as the subway to the sea. And I would say, yeah, but neither is the cost. If you do it cost per rider, it justifies itself. Because the subway to the sea is going to be extremely expensive.
A lot of bang for the buck out of light rail projects, and in this one in particular because of the, as Doug mentioned earlier, the right-of-way which was already owned.
Right. And folks who aren't familiar with the Gold Line, a large portion of it follows the 210, and I love the bridge that goes through Arcadia, and I love the fact that you brought in an artist, and it's sort of the, if you haven't seen it, the whole point of the bridge is it's the yokes on a burro and the baskets, so it really captures sort of the San Gabriel Valley, heritage and history with the Latino influence of the San Gabriel Valley.
Now, I heard that, and I don't know, maybe we need to do some fact checking, but it's the largest usable public art piece in the country or in the state, maybe, but it is considered a public art piece and has won numerous awards.
The other thing that's really interesting is that it didn't cost us any more to make that bridge pretty than if we had just thrown up your typical structure. So
I remember at the announcement that was made clear that even though everybody marveled at the beauty of it, it still was within the normal budget situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's what the ingenuity, the creativity, the excitement, and the involvement of all of the communities in the San Gabriel Valley is what makes this project so exciting for us.
Well, I remember when I went to the groundbreaking at the bridge, I got a copy of the brochure and I sent it to an architectural student's friend. I said, see, here's what you can do when you're an architect. You can do this. When we come back on The Question Is with Anthony Portantino, we'll hear more about the exciting Gold Line going in the San Gabriel Valley. Be right back. We're back on The Question Is with Anthony Portantino, talking about one of my favorite subjects, the Gold Line. And, you know, Doug, one of the things that's interesting about this project is a number of regional transportation agencies are working together. You're also the chair of Foothill Transit. How is that integrating with the Gold Line? And Sam, I'm going to come to you because the bikers are also important in this, and you play a role there. So talk about Foothill Transit and what's the vision here.
Well, one of the basic problems that you always have when you're talking about public transit is the connectivity. The ability, once you get somebody that's been riding a train, to get from that point where they get off the train to their destination. We have been working very closely with Foothill Transit and the Gold Line Construction Authority to make sure that our stations have the appropriate bus stops and the tie-ins, so that as we travel east and west across the San Gabriel Valley, that Foothill Transit will be able to have buses that will take them south and north to get to the train and virtually provide seamless transportation throughout the valley.
Right. And that'll get people out of their cars.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and that's, you know, as time goes on, it's going to become more and more important to have public transit so that
it works together.
And
tell us about the bikes.
That's the beauty of this line, is that it is that main spine, if you will, that connects everything else. And with the buses and with bicyclists and walking and all active mobility, once you have that fixed line that takes you into the areas that you need to get to, now you have the housing that's being built that will, you know, where people will be able to live and walk to the station, or if they're a little farther away, they could bike to a station. And I recently became a member of the Bike SGV, and that group has been going around and helping cities develop their bicycle master plans. That with an overall regional plan for the San Gabriel Valley and for LA County, and it takes these types of projects, this one in particular, in mind, in connecting the stations to the roadways with some bike lanes to make it safer for people to bike there.
And we didn't even talk about, I mean, obviously there's two issues here. There's moving people, but there's also providing the jobs for the construction.
Right.
You know, the Gold Line itself is creating 3,000 jobs per phase. And then the transit-oriented development, the housing, all of that, you know, provides jobs for the San Gabriel Valley. Not to mention, some of you I know have affordable housing in your plans. I mean, it truly is a synergistic, modern approach to building communities.
I tell you, I'm talking to one of the construction workers that's working on the project now. He was really excited to be part of this phase, and he mentioned that phase one paid for his kid to go to college.
Right.
So it's kind of that's what these type of projects, as you mentioned, bring to the people that are involved with it.
Now, Doug, Sam mentioned college. Obviously, Citrus College is along the route, and you know, one of the things we try to do is, you know, it's one thing to provide the classroom, but how do you get the student to the classroom? And there's a significant number of anticipated Gold Line riders that are going to take it to get to school.
Well, that's true, and it's called the brain train because there's so many colleges along its route. But the other thing that is key in this is that we're trying to get people out of their cars. We're trying to be kind to the environment and make commutes of any kind easier. When you drive your car, you always have to find a place to park.
Right.
One of the things that Foothill Transit has done, just as an aside, is provide bus passes for something like $10 a semester per student. They can ride any bus anywhere in the system that Foothill Transit has. Mount San Antonio College has participated in this, and their students voted 87% to participate in this program.
Right.
It's a wonderful program. Glendora, as a city, is having trouble with Citrus College students parking on residential streets. We would like to get Citrus College to participate with this bus program so that we can reduce the amount of cars that are parked on Glendora streets. We're also concerned as the goal line that maybe some of those students are going to be wanting to park in the goal line parking structure.
Right.
Citrus has problems with adequate parking. And so this is a way that the transit organizations can provide the mechanism to get the kids out of their cars
Right.
for a very economical price.
Right, and have a better impact on the community. I live across the street from an elementary school, and certainly Monday through Friday, between 7:30 and
Indy 500,
4:30,
right?
there's the Indy 500 of all the drop-offs, but in front of my house is always filled with cars from 7:30 to 3:30. After 3:30,
Yeah, you can't get in and out of your driveway, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine, the impact of a college. It's significant.
And if I could, Anthony, what's amazing is that this isn't light rails in LA are not new. I mean, we're basically rebuilding the red line, which was the transportation project. That's what people were accustomed to. That's all they knew, and that's how they got around. So, those were all torn up and thrown out, and now we're spending billions of dollars to build it back. But it's almost like what's new was old before. What's old.
Let me ask you a
new.
question, Sam. I mean, the model is so special. Have other regions of California called and talked to you about how the Gold Line came about? I mean, has the model been copied, or are the major urban centers still dominated by major transportation bureaucracies?
Well,
the answer is yes.
They do talk to us, but not. We don't even have to go across the country. Other nearby projects that are also going through the process and waiting to see when it's going to be their time are seeing the successes of a construction authority and seeing how that could happen. And those projects could be as close as like the East Side project, for example. And but I think what the construction authority was able to do is to prove that this type of construction is much more efficient, and it could free up a larger bureaucracy like the MTA to focus on the operations. Mm-hmm. It's a model that maybe legislators and even our federal reps could see as a way to get maximize the precious funding that we have available for this and build some of these much needed projects.
Because the interesting thing is it's not a regulatory relief, it's a bureaucratic relief.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's still playing by the same rules.
Right.
It's just doing it with less people and less bureaucracy and closer to those who are in the communities. And so I think some people say, oh, it doesn't have to follow the same. No, it's not about following the rules. It's just leaner in its approach.
And once our engineers are done with this project, they're done, and they move on to another project, maybe in some cases in other parts of the state, but they don't sit around and wait for something else to come along, and that's what
you're maximizing the efficiency and the time. But to me, I scratch my head, and you're right. I mean, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars of projects that are unfunded.
Right.
And it would behoove people to look at the different models. Tell me a little bit about the yard in Monrovia and what role that plays, because it's a large undertaking.
Absolutely.
So walk me through how that plays and what exactly is being built in Monrovia.
Well, it's going to be, what do we call it? The CLOG, the Gold Line Operations Campus, because it's more than just a place to store the cars. It really is a place where they're going to be cleaned, they're going to be maintained when needed, repaired. It really is a full service facilities for light rails. And mind you, these are electric cars, so it's not, you're not going to have the oils and all the
Right.
like you see in some of the
noise.
yeah. So yeah, it's a clean operation. It's almost like when you look at it, it's a big giant train set. When you look at the way it's all configured, but it's a very needed part of the entire process. It's one of, I think, there's 3 or 4 others throughout the county, so they're located in strategic areas.
And how many jobs do you know are going to be there ongoing? How many jobs
What
is
do
just
we
that
estimate?
facility?
You know, I am not sure.
That's an
Fortunately,
operations,
that's
yeah.
the operations
But
part.
it's several hundred jobs right in that
Yes.
one location that are ongoing, permanent transit jobs right there
Right.
that the Goal Line created. And obviously we know that the loss of redevelopment jeopardized
Right.
that project and other plans that you all had. Again, another, consequence of the loss of redevelopment agencies. You have this wonderful transit corridor, and your model, one of the ways local government was funding some of the future development was through redevelopment
Yeah,
agencies.
but it also spurs developers to build appropriate developments, taking advantage of a large public project
Right.
such as the Gold Line. And I think Monrovia was able to have some development that's transit orientated, meaning that they're adjacent to the transit spots, and our city has some of those spots. Our city of Glendora is building some more multifamily operations where people are able to walk to the stations or bike in some cases. And
Right.
it makes sense, and that's where we hope that projects like ours, people that see it, especially if they see the construction along when they're driving along the 210 freeway, they're looking at these projects and saying, "Wow, that's my tax money being put to use," and so the success will create more success and more efforts to support these type of efforts, and hopefully in the next funding measure that comes along, and that's where again the question is how
are we gonna
soon
make it
and
work?
how it's
Yeah.
going to. We hope that we could show that we could finish funding the phase 2B, which would be from Azusa to Claremont and to Montclair, with the next funding measure that hopefully will occur soon.
Right. Speaking of funding, obviously Measure J
Failed.
Failed.
Yeah,
They already failed.
but LA didn't play
Nice.
nice. We can say that. We're all San Gabriel Valley Valleyistas, we'll call ourselves. LA didn't play nicely and sort of sunk it with their own approach. Whenever money's on the table, there is a delicate balance, and obviously having you two veterans be part of the conversation, I think the San Gabriel Valley is very well served with the people who are at the table. I mean, you're there, John Fasana, and others who are letting people know that the San Gabriel Valley has its
That
own.
we exist.
Yeah,
we're here.
We're here.
And we're players.
We're players,
We are players.
and it makes a difference. It's a place to make happy for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. And ridership continuing to
People are
grow.
using it.
People are using it. The other thing is, you got to think that commuter who's in the HOV lane on the 210, because sometimes the HOV lane on the 210 isn't moving as fast as the other lanes. Maybe it'll give them an impetus to get out of their cars and use it more. I know I use it when I go downtown.
Right.
I haven't used it to go east much, but I've definitely, if I'm going downtown, and my children, my daughters, whenever they were going to go downtown, I've always made them hop on the Gold Line. So
It makes sense.
the Gold Line is an exciting project. We've got the conductors here. Thank you very much for all of your service. And Doug, I know in the short time you're not going to be on the city council. You've decided to do other things with your time.
Yeah, the good news is that I'm not running for re-election, but I have been reappointed by the City of Pasadena to the Gold Line Construction
So you're gonna
Authority for another 4 years. So I'm retiring from city politics, but I'm going to continue my love affair with the Gold Line Construction Authority and continue trying to get this thing all the way to Montclair and points east.
If I had a train whistle, I'd blow it. We're talking the Gold Line with two great guys. Thanks for being here. Come back next month.